What's up guys, this is Harley here, back with another video on the FPL Harley channel. Now today, I'm going to be making a video on my updated FPL team. Now if you're aware of the Euros fixtures that just took place, I want to get a look at them. Yeah, there's a huge one. I mean, Netherlands didn't even get a shot on target. Czech Republic were by far the better team. And I had 4 Netherlands players in my team. Not just Depay captain, but Dumfries, Stekelenburg, and Wijnaldum. So, yeah, my Euros fantasy's well and truly in the bin. I have 1 Belgian player. I'm done for. I'm physically done for. But I mean, let's get onto the FPL team. So, the first player that I have included in the team is Robert Sanchez. He was in the first team. I think he has to be in pretty much everyone's team. Now this team that I've made isn't that different to the first team, but I think it's probably better, and I'm better off having this team than the first team. So I thought, because I made quite a few changes, I'd update it and make a new video. But Robert Sanchez, I mean, he's a bargain. I'm pretty sure he's 4.5 million. Yes, 4.5. His first 2 games are Burnley and Watford. Yes, he has Everton in the 3rd game, but then Brentford in the 4th game. And Brighton, yes, they finished 1 off of relegation last season, but their XG was one of the highest in the league. I think if there are a few signings off of being a very good side, and obviously they're selling Ben White to Arsenal for 50 million, it seems. That's quite a lot of money to go and spend on someone big or a few players that are good. So Brighton are in a pretty decent position, and Robert Sanchez in the second half of last season was very, very solid. Now, the other keeper hasn't changed. The Cycling GK, Foster, for 4 million. He's owned by 25%, nearly 26%. But he's a decent keeper, you know. I don't think he's first choice for Watford, but he's just in there because I needed a 4 million keeper, and he's pretty much the only one. So that's why he's in the team. But it's not because he's the only one, but he's the only one that actually has some meaning, and he's just in there for the laugh. So yeah. The next player is someone who was in the first team as well. There are quite a few players who were in that first team. It's Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he is a must-have. You need Trent Alexander-Arnold in your team. Obviously, he puts up big numbers, even in last season, where he didn't have a great season. He still managed to get 160 points, including 2 goals and 8 assists, 10 clean sheets as well. Was also out of the ranks for defenders. He was first in threat, first in ICT index, and first for creativity. So he's just a top defender, owned by 28%, but he should be in your team because he's going to stat pad, especially with Norwich, Burnley as the first 2 games. Then Chelsea is the 3rd, but Leeds and Crystal Palace is the 4th and 5th as well. For 7.5, you know, I think he's the most expensive defender in the game, but he's definitely worth having in your team. Now the second defender in the team, the 3rd player, well the 4th player actually that I'm naming, is Luca Digne. I'm pretty sure he was in the first team as well, but Everton, their first 5 fixtures are the easiest first 5 fixtures out of any team in the league, so I've gone for a triple up on the Everton. Digne coming in at just 5.5 million, which I think is probably a bargain for him. He managed to get not a single goal scored, but 9 assists and 9 clean sheets last season. Managed to get 120 points last season. His first 5 are Southampton, Leeds, Brighton, Burnley and Villa. So I think Digne could get at least 2 or 3 clean sheets in there, maybe even 2 or 3 goal contributions, you never know. It's quite unpredictable as of right now. There's still about a month and a half until the Premier League starts, but he's probably one that's also nailed on in my team. Now the next one is Matt Targett, coming in at 5 million. Is an absolute bargain, owned by 11.6%. But his first 3 fixtures, well, Villa's first 3 fixtures, sorry, are Watford, Newcastle and Brentford. So I think triple up on the Everton, triple up on the Aston Villa is definitely needed. But Targett, yeah, 138 points last season, 16 clean sheets, 4 assists. You know, he was one of the top scoring defenders last season. I don't mean goal scored, I mean by fantasy Premier League points. You know, he's a very good defender to have in Fantasy Premier League. I'm not sure if Aston Villa are going to keep up as many clean sheets this season, but they're off to a decent start in the transfer window. You know, they've just signed Emi Buendia. If they can keep on to Jack Grealish, they're going to look very good for next season. But yeah, that's why Target is in the team. The next player is Manchester United's Luke Shaw, coming in at 5.5 million. I honestly think 5.5 million for Luke Shaw is actually a bargain. I thought it'd be 6 or 6.5 million. You know, compared to Trent and Robertson both being 7 and 7.5, and then Luke Shaw being 5.5, I think it's a bargain. 33% owned, but I think quite rightfully. 124 points last season, even though Luke Shaw didn't even start to play that well until probably the start of 2021, or the start of December at least. So for the first couple of months of the season, Shaw wasn't even that great. Still managed to get 10 clean sheets, a goal and 5 assists, 124 points, and I think he had the highest chances created for any defender in world football in 2021, or might have been the whole of last season, so that's incredible. But Luke Shaw definitely gets into the team for me. And the fifth defender, who's actually going to be on the bench for me, is Tariq Lamptey. Tariq Lamptey plays for Brighton, has Burnley and Watford as the first 2 games, similarly to obviously Robert Sanchez. And Tariq Lamptey, he only scored 35 points last season because obviously he was injured for, wasn't he injured for 80% of the season, but he managed to get a goal and 3 assists and 2 clean sheets in the games that he did actually play, and is only coming in at 4.5 million, which is literally, it's a top bargain. 4.5 million, he's owned by 20%, so people are jumping on that Lamptey bandwagon, but you should definitely have Lamptey in your team. He's going to be on the bench for me. I'm not sure if he's going to stay on the bench because he does play against Burnley. I might have to drop maybe Luke Shaw, who plays against Leeds, but Lamptey is definitely going to be in the team on the bench as that 5th defender, just because he's cheap, so you might as well have him for your cheap defensive option. Now moving on to the midfield, the first player who we have is Mason Greenwood. Now, massive question marks over this. There are a couple of scenarios as to whether he'll stay or leave the team. Manchester United have easy fixtures. Greenwood coming in at 7.5 million, especially for a Manchester United attacker, is very good. He got 7 goals and 2 assists. It wasn't his best season, but he still managed to, he found his form at the end of the season. Owned by 4%. Leeds, Southampton, Wolves and Newcastle was the first 4 games. West Ham as well, which is a tough game, but I think Manchester United will be favourites to win that. There is maybe a little bit of bias because I'm a Manchester United fan, but the scenario is that Jadon Sancho is going to come in at that right wing position, which means Greenwood might not get time to play, but there are rumours that Greenwood will play in a striker position for Manchester United and maybe be rotating around with Cavani and potentially even Martial, but there's rumours that Martial is going to leave Manchester United. But there's also a scenario, apparently Marcus Rashford is going to have an operation on his, I don't know what it is. Is it his ankle that he's getting an operation on, or it might be his shoulder? But obviously he's been carrying that injury for a year or 2 now. He's going to get an operation. It's not set in stone whether Rashford is going to get that operation, but it's rumoured that if he does get the operation, he is going to miss the first 5 or 6 games of next season, meaning that the front 3 for Manchester United could be Sancho on the left, Greenwood on the right, and Cavani up front. So if that does happen and Rashford does miss out the first 5 or 6 games of next season, then Greenwood is definitely going to be filling in that front 3 with Jadon Sancho and Cavani or Martial. So Greenwood is definitely one to look out for, but obviously, I mean, I can't really look at that now. The operation, if it does happen, will happen probably a couple of weeks after England finish with their Euros duty, so we'll have a better look at that. But for now, Greenwood stays in the team, just in case that does happen. But if it doesn't, I think Greenwood might come out because it is not likely that he is going to play many games for Manchester United with Jadon Sancho coming in. But I don't think he will rotate with Cavani at the striker position. Now, the next player in the team is Gylfi Sigurdsson, my second Everton player. He is coming in at 7 million, which I think is a decent price, coming in at 4.7% owned. He scored 122 points last season, getting 6 goals and 5 assists, 10 clean sheets, which is a decent extra bit of points as well. Southampton, Leeds, Brighton, Burnley and Villa as the first 5 games. Easiest 5 games, first 5 games out of anyone in the league. So Gylfi Sigurdsson, he is one of the question marked players. I'm not too sure if he's going to be in the team. I could include maybe James Rodriguez if he's back to his form. You never know, but Sigurdsson is going to be in my team. Now the third midfielder is going to be Mohamed Salah. He should be in every single person's team. He is going to be my captain. Oh yeah, also forgot to mention, Gylfi Sigurdsson is going to be my vice captain for now. But Salah is going to be the captain. Norwich and Burnley is the first 2 games. Salah should be in everyone's team. What percent owned is he? 51%. More than half the FPL players have Salah in their team. You should jump on the bandwagon as well as get Salah in the team. I'm pretty sure, did he get a hat-trick for Liverpool's first game last season? Or was that the season before? I'm not too sure, but there are always hat-tricks on the first game of the season. Salah always does well on the first game of the season. Salah is going to be in my team, especially to play against Norwich, and he will have that captain's armband. And the fourth midfielder, is going to be Jack Grealish. Again, more question marks. Is he going to stay at Villa or is he going to go to Man City? Not too sure about that so far. But if he stays at Aston Villa, he is definitely going to be in my team. 8 million, I think is a good price for him. 35% owned. 6 goals and 12 assists for Jack Grealish last season. He had a very, very good season, obviously, despite missing quite a bit of it due to injury. You know, he's a top player. He is a top player. Definitely should be in your team. He's been decent on England duty, even though... Did he start 1 or 2 of the games? Did he start the second game against Scotland? I'm not too sure. But Jackie Grealish is going to be in my team and should be in yours as well. And the fifth midfielder, who's actually going to be on the bench for the first game, is Rafinha. Rafinha, absolute bargain at 6.5 million. 28% owned, so he's not a differential. But 6 goals and 10 assists in his first Premier League season. 6.5 million for Leeds. He's a definite starter for Leeds. Definitely going to be in my team, but the reason he is actually on the bench is because his first 2 games are Manchester United and Everton, but then Burnley in the 3rd game and Newcastle win the 5th game. Rafinha is going to stay in my team for that whole time and should stay in yours as well. He should be in your team. He's an absolute stonewaller for me. Now moving on to the front 3, the first player in the front 3 is my 3rd and final Aston Villa player, Ollie Watkins. Watford, Newcastle and Brentford as the first 3 games, 35% owned, 7.5 million. They've just brought Emi Buendia in. A front 3 of Buendia, Watkins and Jack Grealish, if Grealish stays, is absolutely lethal. Watkins could get so many goals this season. Last season he got 14 goals and 9 assists in his first Premier League season after joining from Brentford. He's going to be in my team, he should be in yours as well. I've said that for quite a few players, but yeah, easy fixtures, top player. Aston Villa look brilliant going into next season. He should be in your team. Now again, the 3rd and final player from Everton. He should be in your team. I'll say it again. 28% owned with 8 million. It is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Very, very good season in the Premier League last season. 16 goals and 6 assists for Everton. Easy run of games. Calvert-Lewin 100%. Like there's no words. There's no explanation. No question marks. 100% going to be in my team. Should be in yours as well. To face Southampton for the first game. Could even potentially be vice captain or captain. There's a lot of captain options and vice captain options, but yeah, he's going to be in the team. And finally, the final player, the 15th and final player, the 3rd attacker who is going to be on the bench for the first game, it is Ivan Toney. 33 goals in the Championship last season. Broke the goal scoring record in the Championship of all time. Coming into the Premier League for Brentford. Brentford are actually a team that are predicted to stay in the Premier League. The first 5 fixtures aren't great. They have Arsenal, which they're probably going to lose. Crystal Palace, Villa, Brighton, Wolves. They're not the worst fixtures. At the end of the day, they aren't the worst fixtures, but Toney, especially at a price of just 6.5 million, 38% owned, so he's a differential. But he needs to be in your team, you know. He's even just to stay on the bench for those extra points, you know, maybe start him against Crystal Palace, but he's probably going to be the first sub on the bench, so if anyone doesn't play, he can come on and he's likely to score some points. But that is the team. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, because I do post at 10 PM every single day, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.